When you scale, your brand can either get stronger or it can start to disappear, and you don't want that. Most businesses clamp down so hard that they strangle creativity, and others, they loosen the reins so much that every location feels different. In this video, I will show you the guardrails that keep your brand consistent everywhere. It doesn't matter what city, it doesn't matter what state, it doesn't matter what country. I know because I've done this, and you can do it without killing the creativity that makes it thrive. So stick with me because at the end, I'll give you the exact framework that I use to protect client brands at scale without micromanaging a single detail. I'm Brett from brettcpayne.com, and I help founders grow their businesses without losing the magic that really made them great in the first place. We've got to protect that for you. That's really, really important because here's the truth. Your brand isn't your logo. It's way more than that. It's the experience that your customers have or that your staff has in working with you. And if that experience breaks at scale, meaning you get to a certain point of growth and all of a sudden you start to lose that stuff, you will lose trust, you will lose loyalty, and you will lose momentum. So let's build the guardrails that keep your identity intact as you grow. Guardrail number one, the brand vault. Every location should have the same toolkit. That's going to be the logos and the fonts and the colors and the approved images that you have for them or videos. It's going to be things like templates for marketing and local campaigns. It's going to be the swipe files that make it easy to stay on brand for your locations when they're communicating with their customers. I like to use Canva. The reason why I like to use Canva is because there's that team option and you can add in managers from different locations and you can put things in folders very nicely. So I know that the locations that we have for the various businesses that we run, even if they're in different countries, there's a go-to where they can get the most updated graphic things that they need, or even, like I said, the fonts, the colors, the brand management, so that they're not skewing away from what my original vision was for the company. The templates for marketing and local campaigns, I keep those in a Google Drive, make it really simple, but I identify it so that they always know where to go. You see, when the vault is clear, the local teams, they don't have to guess. They're not asking, where are these things? They just grab and go, just use them and go. It's also helpful if you use maybe third-party marketing companies or things like that. You always can give them access to those resources. You can keep everything intact inside the vault. Guardrail number two, the non-negotiables. Not everything should be flexible. Some things are sacred. So when you walk into a particular business, let's take a franchise, for example. Let's take McDonald's. Like, everywhere you go into a McDonald's, it's going to feel like McDonald's, right? Because there are some things that are just absolutely sacred. They're not changed, but there is some type of flexibility. So you want to think the way customers are greeted, right? Like, that might be a non-negotiable. There's a brand here in the United States called Chick-fil-A, and it took them years. I think it was like 17 years or something. I just heard this the other day, before they got their staff across the company to greet people and to, instead of saying thank you, say it's my pleasure. And if you've ever been into a Chick-fil-A, you've experienced that, and that is not an accident. It's a non-negotiable with Chick-fil-A, right? It could be the baseline quality of standards. So no matter what location you go into, there are certain things that it's always going to be the same in every single location, and nothing's ever going to change from that. It might be the signature details that define the experience. I had a franchise that I grew with a friend of mine that owned the company. His name's Kent. He's one of my best friends in the whole world. And Kent had this great brand that he built, that he started, called Classic Rock Coffee Company. And he had me come in to kind of plant this thing all over the world. And the first place that we ever put a Classic Rock Coffee, other than Springfield, Missouri, which is where I live, was in Islamabad, Pakistan. And we opened one there. And then we started opening them all over the world. Well, the thing about Classic Rock Coffee is it didn't matter where you went, anywhere in the world inside of Classic Rock Coffee, it always had the same coffee. They were always brewed the same. The coffee beans were always roasted the same. It always looked exactly, the music was always the same because we had our own kind of radio station. We put that music in all of the locations. There was no question about where you were, except there was some flexibility, and that flexibility had to do with where it was in the world, the region. So you might see album art on the walls of a location that we had in Texas, and there may be bands like ZZ Top and some other southern kinds of bands down there. But if you walked into a classic rock coffee on the East Coast of the United States, you're going to see kind of more Bon Jovi or more Bruce Springsteen, things like that. So there was always this sense of flexibility, but everyone that went into a location knew exactly where they were. And we did that because we put these guardrails in place. If you want to grow without watching your brand disappear, hit the subscribe button. I post weekly strategies to help you scale without losing the magic. Guardrail number 3, the creative zones. And this is where the balance comes in. I just kind of referenced this slightly in guardrail number 2. You want to give your locations the clear freedom zones, right? That's the idea of the album art on the walls and the different locations. Give them the freedom zones. Let them know the areas where they can add their own personality. They can adapt to local markets, and they can create unique touches in those particular places. So you've got a very nice mix between the non-negotiables and what I call the freedom zones. The non-negotiables are going to be those things that you list out and say, you are not allowed to touch this. McDonald's is going to say, you are not allowed to make this Big Mac any different in this particular country. Now, the fact is they make them different in different countries, but in those particular regions, they don't do that. Give them the non-negotiables there, but then also you want to say, in terms of the freedom zones, if you want to make some changes over here or adjustments over here or put your own personal touch on it because you manage that location, or maybe it's a franchise, they own the location, you are welcome to do that. So create those freedom zones for them. They're really going to enjoy that. It's the structure and it's the creativity, that how those are blended together. And that's what keeps the brand alive instead of feeling robotic. You don't want that. When you have different locations, especially if they're geographically different from one another, you want them to have the touch of that particular region. I really enjoy that part of the brands that we grow and put in different parts of the country and different parts of the world. Let me ask you, if I walked into 5 of your locations today, if you had 5 or 10 or whatever it is, if I go into 5 today, would I get the same experience in all of them? Would I get the same greeting from the staff? Would they look the same? Would they have the same kind of personality? Would it smell the same? Would it sound the same? You know, we build these locations, especially if they're physical locations. Remember, you always want to touch all 5 senses, right? You want to make sure that you're appealing to the customer with their experience in all of the 5 senses. And I want to talk about that with the next guardrail, which is guardrail number 4, experience standards. A brand isn't just visual. We think it's just like what people are seeing. It's not. It's really kind of emotional, isn't it? So you want to document the standards for the speed of service, the cleanliness expectation, the tone and the energy of the customer interactions. Because when customers feel the same way at every location, that's when the brand becomes powerful. I started to touch on the 5 senses idea. In your particular brand, you want to make sure that you're appealing to this visual for sure, right? You want it to look the same, but then also you want it to sound the same. It's got to sound the same. So I like to pipe in music. I like to control the music that's going into particular locations. And there's technologies. I use one called Rockbot that you can easily do those kinds of things and make sure that you're abiding by all the licensing that's necessary in the music industry. You want to make sure that it feels the same, right? So the tactile experience that people have, maybe it's the same kind of chairs. Maybe it's the same kind of, if you have a restaurant, maybe it's the same kind of silverware or flatware that they're using, the same kind of plates, whatever the thing is. You want to make sure that it smells the same. I don't know if you've noticed this, but if you go into some retail locations, especially I'm just thinking like some retail, like clothing location, every Hollister in the world smells exactly the same. That's a clothing store if you're not familiar with what that is. Why do they do that? Because they want people to, like me, they want people to identify their brand with a particular smell. There are a lot of retail businesses out there that use third-party companies to come up with very specific smells just for their locations. And you can use those smells in all of your locations. You don't have to go that far. I mean, you can come up with specific scents that can be purchased and used in ventilation systems in all kinds of different ways. Or maybe it's even something that just sits on a counter and puts in a fragrance into the air, but you want it to be the same in every location. That's the point, right? So you appeal to that 4th sense as well. Guardrail number 5, systems that protect without you. This is where it all kind of comes together. Your brand shouldn't depend on whether you're there to police it or not. It should be baked into the systems that you have. That's why you have training frameworks. So you're training every single staff member, every single manager, every single operations person, marketing people, exactly the same way. That's why you want to have regular reviews on how various roles or various people in those roles are responding. That's why you want to have playbooks that really anybody can follow. You want to make them idiot proof. Okay. And I'm not saying that to be derogatory, but it's just a term to say like that anyone should be able to read it, to watch it, to follow what is being said there. And you have removed every possible error. You make it bulletproof, is what you do. And this is where my free SOP builder guide really comes in for you. It's the exact structure that we use to help clients lock in their brand standards and to do it very, very fast. You can grab it at brettcpayne.com/SOP or hit the link that I put in the description for you. If you want every location to deliver the same brand experience without feeling like a cookie cutter operation, you need smart guardrails and documented systems. Please go download my free SOP builder guide to start building them into your business today. The link is in the description. I will see you inside.